and I'm going to start cutting. So those are my numbers drawn, and it's ruled one inch apart. So I'm going to start that cutting. When you cut with scissors, always keep your eye on what you're doing. You don't want to end up not paying attention and cutting. I've cut myself with scissors. Believe me, it's all kinds of scissors. For not paying attention all the time over the years, and just about any scissor will cut you. So it's really important that you respect the art tool and use it as safely as you can. So cutting this out carefully, being accurate, not rushing my cuts. As I'm cutting it, I'm laying on the table so that they're reassembling into the picture that I want to use. I'm not just randomly tossing it onto the piece to the table. I don't want to get confused. It's surprising once you start cutting your artwork how it all kind of starts looking kind of really the same. It turns into a mix that is hard to sort. So I've kind of gone out of my way to make sure that I always have these sorting exercises using differently the letters or alphabet to differentiate both pieces of art. If we were making this in school, it would probably consume a large part of one day, and oftentimes students don't finish, and then we got to Ziploc our strips of paper and grab all of this and stick it into a Ziploc bag, and then you're really going to kind of be happy that you wrote letters and numbers on your artwork. So that's reassembled there, and now I'm ready to start gluing it. You could cut both, but I wouldn't try that because then you have 24 strips of paper on your table. So I'm going to just really get one glued on, see where everything goes, and then cut my second artwork. So here we go. So this one is marked A, and I remember I wrote that on the right side of the paper. Got that there. Here's just an important tidbit. Some kids glue kind of this, kind of like all over, rising and too low. Always line them up from the bottom. Go right really close to your accordion fold paper and get that on there just like that, as close to the bottom as possible. See how that fit pretty good? And now here's one gap. I'm going to leave that has a gap. I'm not going to glue on there, obviously. I'm going to go to my second. Area to glue it on, which would actually be the third. So you see how I left a gap there so that you can glue my second drawing there. And I'm going to notice glue, just one quick swipe will do the trick from top to bottom. And getting it. I want to also reiterate that you should try to get it as deeply as possible into the fold of the paper, which I call the valley. Get it in there. I've seen students that sometimes they kind of glue it halfway into the fold. You want it to get as deep in there into the valley as possible. Kind of like right into where you folded the paper. See, so there you go. Those are the first 3 strips. You don't want it to end up glued like this, right? I call this like, you know, again, just to give you a side view, right? This is the mountain and that's the valley. You want to get deep in there with your strip of paper. Very easy to get confused. What's top, what's everything topsy-turvy. Take your time. You've got a good 2 minutes before the glue starts drying on this particular. Seems like always when you want to put it down for a second, it dries really quickly, but I would say got enough time. And again, I'm all the way to the bottom of my accordion fold, getting deep in there, pushing it all the way in. I want it to, of course, everyone cuts, because we are imperfect creatures, we're not going to cut it perfectly, but for the most part it should go to the edges and all the way as deep as you can into your fold, as deep as you possibly can. Well, I'm glad I looked. I drew the letters behind this because it gets a little confusing at the end, and I was wondering just now which one is the next one that goes. But if I look at them, at the letters, it will line up pretty. The letters kind of bail you out of any kind of confusion as to which one goes next. And this is J. K. last, but certainly not least. So that's one section, and see how that looks. See, I have made gaps for the left, gaps in betweens for the second drawing that's going to go. As you hold it from one side to the other, right, you'll see that I have left room for each one. If you're not leaving gaps, your Agamograph is not going to work. You really have to be sure that you leave gaps in for your second drawing.